On this video, I will strongly reject notions presented by a specific historian, and I will be calling him out for what appears to be a lack in intellectual rigor and honesty. With that being said, I am attacking his arguments, his methodology. I am not, however, attacking him directly, ad personam, and I strongly ask you to not harass him in any way. I know for a fact that my statements will offend him. That means nothing to me. All I care about is the truth and my freedom to be able to speak it. Hey noble ones, welcome back to my channel, my very non-controversial channel, is it? Well, here's the thing, today's video I think is gonna generate a little bit of backlash and I'll offend a few people. Well, that's literally a Tuesday for me. And I mean it because, you know, on even days, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, usually I'm attacked online and attacked ad hominem and people call me a bigot, a racist. But if it's odd days, so Wednesday, Friday and Mondays, then usually I'm woke. So, you know, it's to be expected. It's an even day after all. Today I want to talk about Dr. Simon Elliot. Now, as you obviously already know, Dr. Simon Elliot is oftentimes appearing on all sorts of videos and TV productions and BBC and whatnot, just as an ancient Roman expert, and he talks about a lot of things. And on the internet is considered to be a top Roman historian. More on that later. I've already reacted to a few of his videos, and of course, sometimes I agree with him, other times I strongly disagree, as for example, when he said this.
Terrible weapon, the Gladius Hispaniensis, didn't have any blood runnels, so there's no way for the air to come out of a wound and no way for the blood to run out of a wound either, so therefore when the sword went in, it was very difficult to take out, so you had to give it a massive twist, which created a terrible, terrifying wound. So it was a psychological weapon.
Okay, but anyways, regardless of that, you don't judge a person if they make a mistake, of course. Top Roman expert, as they call him, you would be like, with top Roman, but whatever. You can make a mistake. I make mistakes. He makes mistakes. People make mistakes. It's fine, okay? You make a mistake once, twice, 3 times, you correct it, and that's fine. It's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem, however, with some of the things he said in a video specifically to a woman. For context, a black woman. What I'm about to show you isn't a matter of, or maybe made another mistake. Yeah, let me show you. Black History, Septimius Severus, the Black Roman Emperor. So, in this specific episode, or whatever the heck this was, Dr. Elliot was speaking to this lovely lady. And you will notice that, as is always the case, comments are turned off. Why are comments turned off? Because what he's saying is not what the evidence supports. And personally, unless he's completely incompetent, which I don't think a top Roman historian would be, I think he knows it. Now this, of course, it's all in my opinion, my thoughts, and therefore I'm going to say everything when it comes to the intentions behind the message that is being pushed here. That's all allegedly, but what's not alleged is the historical sources that I will present today. Let's start watching it and then I'll tell you why this annoys me.
What do you know about the Romans from being taught history?
Oh, well, I know Rome was not built in a day, that's for sure. Very good gladiators.
Yeah.
I can remember Julius Caesar.
Well, it's really interesting you say that, because Julius Caesar is the individual, along with Cleopatra, which most people reference when they talk about the Roman Empire. And Caesar is also famous for coming to Britain, and a lot of people think that Caesar conquered Britain, but he didn't. So effectively, he came, he saw, but he didn't conquer.
Claudius.
Now, the most important Roman, I would argue, who actually ever came to Britain was the African emperor, Septimius Severus.
Okay, so let me comment on that very briefly. So as you noticed, he said African emperor Septimius Severus. Now, was Septimius Severus born in Africa? Yes, he was born in Africa. Leptis Magna, first I'll tell you more about it geographically where that is, because it's going to be very important. But you will hear the word African 17 times in a row as we continue watching this. She, of course, is surprised, right? Poor thing.
Hold on. Let's just stop there.
Okay.
Are you telling me there was an African emperor?
There was an African emperor, and he was one of the greatest Roman emperors. So he was...
Okay, so this, look at her face. This is why I'm making this video. You can call me racist. You can call me obnoxious. You can say condescending, arrogant, say whatever you want. I'll take it. This is wrong to me. Okay, I feel for this woman. Because I mean, I'm an Italian from Sicily. So if someone came to me and I know nothing of Roman history, and someone comes to me and tells me, hey, you know, the most important, the greatest emperor of Rome was from Sicily, I would be like, oh, really? Like, that would make me happy. Now, by her accent, I believe she's a British African. I don't think she's an African, but it doesn't matter because she is strongly connected probably to her heritage. And so when she hears African, she thinks of herself. I think that's why they put her in front of him. It's obvious that that's what's happening here. Now she's all enamored with this idea. Oh, wow, the greatest emperor that ever came here was an African man. She's thinking someone like me. And he plays with that. Spoiler alert, the chances of Septimius Severus being black are close to none. And of course, differently from him, I will provide all the sources to justify this and the iconography on this video.
Born in North Africa in AD 145, and he died here, right beneath your feet.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So
in York?
In York. This is where he would have lived. His bedroom would have been within 10 yards of where we're sitting, below us. Actually, I can show you what the family looked like.
Really?
Because we have a portrait here called the Severan Tonda. This is like a photograph
Oh my goodness.
of the Severan family. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
She's adorable. This makes my blood boil.
There they are.
Wow.
Right.
It's amazing to actually see his portrait. It's a black man, isn't it? I
Nope.
always remember the Romans being quite violent when I was at school. Was Severus nasty?
He was a warrior. He came here to Britain in AD 208, got a message from the governor, and the governor said that we here in Britain are being attacked from the north and we're in danger of being overrun. The first thing he does is have them build the walls of Roman London.
Wow.
So the city of London, to this day, the square mile is defined by the African emperor Septimius Severus. If you walk into the reception area of the British Museum, the first bust you see is a bust of Septimius Severus, alabaster white.
Yeah.
But actually...
Yeah, look, what a black African man. Look at that. Look. This is like, oh my God.
When it was in real life in the Roman world, it would have been painted as he was, a man from North Africa, a black man.
So no one would know that that was not a white man?
Absolutely.
Septimius Severus was indeed born in Africa, so was Elon Musk. But what really doesn't make Elon Musk a black African is the fact that his family wasn't from there. Not every North African is a black African, neither today nor in the classical antiquity. Now, given in classical antiquity, for true, real context, there were some cities and entire settlements that were predominantly black. I can tell you a few, for instance, the city of Selene, as mentioned by Diodorus Siculus. But the majority, Carthage, and a lot of other cities in modern-day Libya, modern-day Algeria, modern-day Tunisia, would have been inhabited by Semitic people. So just because you're born in North Africa doesn't make you black. You could be black, or you could be Semitic. And in fact, you could be Greek, depending on the time period. The Punic world was extremely varied from an ethnic point of view, and as the 2009 study by French archaeologists Stéphane Bourdin and Sandrine Crouzet, it was revealed that already in the 3rd century BC, there were Punic citizens who were children or grandchildren of Greek, Etruscan, Italic, and even Celtic immigrants. This is the reality. He knows it. You can't be a top Roman historian and not know this. Very disingenuous.
Absolutely right. This is a man who's there all the time. He's right in front of us all the time in the British Museum, but nobody knows, unless you dig into the story, that he was a warrior emperor from North Africa who stayed true to his own heritage.
Whatever that means.
Incredible. I can't believe I don't know about this story, and it's such a good story as well.
It's got everything. It's more Game of Thrones than Game of Thrones.
African Roman Emperor ruling Britain. How did I not know about this? And Dr. Simon's got another surprise up his sleeve.
Right.
There's an amazing artist called Daniel Vossart who specialises in creating realistic images of Roman emperors, and he's created this. I give you...
Wow! It looks so real, doesn't it? That looks so real. This African emperor has just completely blown my mind. It's completely changed my idea of the whole Roman Empire. I so wish I had known this as a child.
The Roman Empire is a truly cosmopolitan mixing.
That's the message.
All over the Roman Empire.
He's powerful, he was a warrior, you know, he led from the front, people respected him, and most importantly for me, is he's really fit.
He's really fit. Oh my gosh. Better to laugh than to cry. Let's have a look at the iconography. And let's be intellectually honest, shall we? So even if you hate me, even if you hate my guts, be intellectually honest. Alright, so if that's not a black African man, spoiler alert, it's not, then what is it that we're looking at? Because clearly he doesn't look like a white Nordic European, obviously, and he doesn't even look like you would imagine a Mediterranean, like an Italian or a Greek. Well, what you're looking at is most likely a Semitic man. Now, clearly, when we say Semitic, that can mean lots of different people. The Jews are Semitic, Arabs are Semitic, ancient Akkadians would be Semitic, Phoenicians were Semitic people, and as a result, Carthaginians were Semitic. So, Semitic already is an umbrella term which contains all sorts of different phenotypic traits and characteristics. But what we are looking at is clearly a Middle Eastern man. Now, once again, Middle Easterners are a diverse group of people. Some Semitic people have a very light skin, some Arabs are very light, others are kind of brown, other Semitic people can go various tones of like olive, light brown, all the way to kind of dark brown. So we've got all sorts of different skin tones. Now, someone like this is too pale-skinned to be a good representation of the Severan Tondo. I think we can all agree with that. Someone like this with a slightly darker skin tone would be starting to get closer, I would imagine. This is kind of what I would consider a dark olive skin. But there we go. As you can see, we have all sorts of different characteristics, and all really we need to do to find a good modern representation, let's look for someone with a slightly darker skin tone. Even when you look at someone like this, would you say, oh, a black African, pretty dark complexion, clearly Middle Eastern? You look at the picture and you're like, yeah, that's a Middle Eastern man. And it is quite clear that this is one of those situations. Look at his skin tone, for instance. Compared to his a little darker. However, we also need to keep in mind, I'll do an entire section in a moment, but we have to keep in mind that what we're working here could be with darkened pigmentations which aged and increase its depth of color in time. Yes, I'll prove it with science. So, how do I justify that statement about pigmentation sometimes darkening with time rather than fading, as some might imagine? Here it is. I found a study from the University of Florence specifically dedicated to color alteration with time. Link in the description. Now, there are several ways to see how color would have most likely looked like in period. The study in question uses image spectroscopy and mapping techniques for non-inclusive analysis of the paintings in the tomb, including photo-induced luminescent digital imaging. And the results of the study show that there are plenty of images where the colors have darkened and used to be lighter in their original state. Once again, link in the description. Sometimes they fade, sometimes they darken. And that's factual. This might look darker than it is. Even if it's not, and that's the exact skin tone, even though this thing is like centuries and centuries old. We don't just base it on this, however. Let's talk about his lineage and what we know from the sources. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth. Another important element in defining the native origins of the Septimii comes from the poet Statius, who wrote a lyric ode dedicated to a young man named Septimius Severus, who had been sent as a child by his family to Veii to study. Statius writes the following, passages 45 and 46. We read, "The language you speak is not Punic, nor is your figure Punic. Your mentality has nothing foreign, Italian you are." While some classicists tend to promote a completely Italic origin for the Septimii family, there is a much larger number of historians who present a Punic origin of the father's side, supported by epigraphic and literary data. Specifically, an inscription from Leptis, the ancient Punic city of Lepqī, is presented, celebrating a number of Septimii. Septimius Severus, introduced as the grandfather of the emperor, our domini nostri, who would have served as Sufete, and we find this in an inscription of Roman Tripolitania 412, and a Sufete would be a type of indigenous magistracy of Punic origin. The poetry communicates a great deal between the lines. In the Roman mentality, the memory of the Punic Wars and the threat of Hannibal was still very much alive at this time. There is no doubt that the appearance in Italy of the first Libyan and Punic citizens must have aroused many comments and mistrust from the population, which the poet Statius wants to dispel. That's what it's doing within this appropriate historical context. The speech and mentality of his friend Septimius Severus are Italic because he grew up in Italy, regardless of his Punic origin. Now returning to inscription 412 from Leptis. It is remembered how the emperor's grandfather had first held the position of Sufete, remember, and then that of duumvir as a consequence of Vespasian's concessions. Now, during Vespasian's reign, in fact, Leptis had been granted the ius Latii, that is, Latin rights, and a city that was previously a peregrine community, in other words, foreign, is recognized as a municipium. Its magistrates are automatically granted Roman citizenship, and their title changes from the indigenous one, in this case the Punic Sufeti as explained, to the Latin one, duumviri. Around 120 AD, Lucius Septimius Severus, who is Emperor Septimius Severus' grandfather, marries an unknown girl, from whom he has 2 children. One of these children is Publius Septimus Geta, who is Septimius Severus' father. Geta married Fulvia Pia, the daughter of a wealthy family of Roman colonials, the Fulvii, so his mum was Italian. From this couple, Lucius Septimius Severus was born around 146 AD. What does this do? What does this produce, apart from obvious misinformation? It produces this. Septimius Severus, the Roman emperor. Septimius Severus, the African emperor. They make a cartoon and he's black. Septimius Severus, the Roman emperor. There he is. Black, first African born, BBC. Of course, BBC is going to jump in. Black African emperor. Fake, he was black. They hiding the truth from us. African Roman emperor. Severus, the Black Kaiser, episode 5. Man, he has got a whole channel dedicated to it. The first black African emperor of Rome. Black African Roman emperor. Black emperors. Black history. First black African. Okay, I can keep going. This keeps going indefinitely. Indefinitely. Holy moly, Black African Roman Emperor Septimius Severus and Caracalla! Oh my gosh, Caracalla was black. No, wait, I gotta show you this. This is Caracalla. This is Caracalla. This is Severus' wife. This is Geta. What a typical black man from Congo. Absolutely, this is from the Horn of Africa, sorry. Here we are. Because now they feel they have the support of academia, of course. Big shot professor said this. Notice how categorically he said it. This is insane. This is insane to be that categorical. Yeah, he was North African, so black. Already the connection, the causal link that he does he believe it? I don't even know. I don't know what's worse. That he doesn't know? So why is he paid? Probably profusely to do these. Or he does know and he's specifically lying to virtue a signal, to push a political agenda, and what have you. And even if he's doing it for the good reasons, okay? Even if he's doing it because, oh no, he just wants to make sure that people are not racist, that people embrace black, British African, and in their community as part of, okay, great. They're not going to do that. You're going to create the opposite. You need to base your integration ideology on the truth. If you don't do that, if you use false statements that can be debunked immediately, you only foster racism. This is what they don't understand. Tell the truth. Find the real black history and black historical characters. But no. And of course, the idea is that if anyone is going to try and debunk it, we're going to be attacked. Well, attack me all you want. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm not going to stand down. You're not doing it. Academia is not doing it. Other YouTubers are too afraid. I'll stand up and I'll tell the truth based on the sources. And I have to believe that at least my audience knows me enough to know that this is not coming from a place of racism. This is coming from a place of love for the truth. Everyone else can hate me. I do not care. Someone's got to do it. But I really feel for her, and I feel for every person who's watching this video, and I feel for all the subscribers to my channel who are black. Because unfortunately, the average person who's just going to work, doing their day, taking care of their family, don't have the time to dive into the sources, translate from Latin when needed. They don't have the time to do that. So what do? They listen to the doctor, top historian expert. Right? And so they trust him. They're like, oh, that's amazing. Wow. And I find that to be disrespectful towards you. You're a black subscriber. I will not disrespect you by doing this. I'll tell you the facts based on the sources, just like I did when I created my dedicated episode to the African warrior queen, the Kandake, that actually fought the imperial Romans in combat and all that discussion. That's all based on the sources and it's real. But then when it's Cleopatra, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to say, no, it doesn't matter what grandma said. Sorry, Cleopatra was Greek. And at the same time, I'm not going to tell you that an emperor who clearly wasn't a black African, oh no, he was African, and just twist my words in it. I'm not going to do that. Out of respect for you, just like I respect my European subscribers, my American subscribers, my Asian subscribers, what have you. If you are a Native American, I would respect you to not tell you that someone like George Washington, oh no, he was a Native American, so that's going to make you happy. And then, of course, the BBC, which is a complete utter joke, released this. And I'm not going to play the audio from it because I don't want them to claim this video, but you don't need to. Just, you've been told to have been here from the start. We rocked in the Stone Age, went to war with Bonaparte. Before these isles were British, black people played their part. This is really the video that I wanted to share with you. I do find this video that we just watched particularly disconcerting. The reason is that I see a woman who appears to be a lovely lady who, to me, has been fed completely wrong information, spoken in a specifically deceptive way, with the intent of pushing some kind of message while at the same time using her as a prop. That's what I see, and I call it for what it is. Now, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, absolutely share your opinions in the comments below. As always, please don't harass anyone who is involved with this, but do speak your mind and do always look for the truth. And whenever you hear a top whatever historian and archaeologist, but you see that they're saying some things that, that doesn't sound right, double check with the sources. Do not trust them. It is possible then that rugged Leptis in the distant Syrtes gave birth to you. Who will ever believe that dear Septimus did not take his first steps on each of Romulus' hills? Who will dare deny that once weaned he nourished himself by drinking from the fountain of Juturna? Your virtue should not surprise. Even before knowing the shadow-bottomed Africa, you immediately entered ports of the Ausonians and adopted, still tiny, you sail on the waves of Etruria. And with that, I'm going to call it a day. I will see you tomorrow, dear noble ones. Thank you for watching. Bye.